Today, we're diving into a topic that can transform your financial future, and that is the difference between financial strategy and financial tactics. So, we're going to break this down, but there's a great quote about strategy and tactics from Peter Drucker that I wanted to share from you to kick this off. He says, strategy is doing the right things, tactics is doing things right. So, we're going to talk about both of those things today, how to do the right things in your finances, and then how to do them right. So, absolutely fantastic here. So, first and foremost, what is financial strategy? So, financial strategy is your long-term vision for your finances. It's about setting the big goals and then figuring out the framework to reach them. So, for example, that might look like paying off your mortgage in 15 years would be a strategy. Building $1 million retirement fund might be a strategy that you want to work towards, or transitioning from a 9 to 5 to running your own business. So we're really looking, as you can tell, at big picture strategy here. It answers questions like, where am I now? What do I want to be? And what's the plan to bridge that gap? Think of financial strategy as the why and how of your financial decisions. Then on to financial tactics. So tactics are the specific actions that you want to take to execute those strategies. They're short-term and adaptable based on your current situation. So examples of this might include using a cashback credit card to save on groceries, automating your savings into a high-yield savings account, or negotiating a lower interest rate on your car loan. So as you can see, tactics are really the nuts and bolts of the little day-to-day behaviors that then build towards your overall strategy. They're all about what you do to make progress, one step at a time. So let's take a look at how strategy and tactics work together in your finances. You might be thinking, which one is more important? The truth is they're equally important in different ways. They work as a team. A strong strategy keeps you focused on the big picture, while effective tactics make sure you're taking the right steps today. Without strategy, your tactics lack direction. And then without tactics, your strategy stays a dream. For example, if your strategy is to retire at age 55, your tactics might include maxing out your 401k, building multiple income streams, or even downsizing your home. So you can see how you really need to have both of these, both the strategy and the tactics, to be able to achieve the goals that you have for yourself. So common mistakes to avoid when it comes to financial strategy and tactics. So there's a few mistakes that are really, really important to be cognizant of here. The first one is being too tactical without any strategy. This looks like clipping coupons and saving a few dollars here and there, or perhaps even running around and turning off all the lights in the house that you're not using, but not having a big picture goal. So you might be saving a little bit here and there, but you're not even sure what you're saving for, what you're investing for, things like this. A second mistake that commonly happens when it comes to financial strategy and tactics is getting stuck in strategy mode. And I have definitely been guilty of this myself. If you spend all your time planning but never taking action, you won't get any results. And this is really true that the best strategy not executed is really not a great strategy, because if you don't take any action on it, it just stays like a concept. It stays a nebulous or perhaps somewhat defined concept, but if you never take those concrete steps and take action on it, you're never going to see it come to fruition. So it can be very frustrating, if you're a planner like I am, to have a great plan in place, but then maybe procrastinate on the steps you need to take, or be held back by kind of anxiety about the future, or anxiety about trying to learn new skills. Maybe you don't know how to invest. Up to a few years ago, I didn't know anything about investing. And so just remind yourself, if you're stuck in strategizing mode, you can learn everything you need to learn in this whole finance world that we are in. You can learn every last skill you need to learn. And if you can't learn it yourself in the amount of time you need to figure it out, like retirement planning, for example, then just hire someone. So you don't have to know everything yourself. It's a real balance between how much you want to learn the skills yourself versus how much you want to pay somebody who's dedicated their whole entire career to getting really good at retirement planning or really good at investment advising. So don't forget forget that you're not alone in this. But the main thing is have a strategy and then start with those tactics and start taking action. Don't get stuck with one or the other. And the third common mistake here is using tactics that don't align with your strategy. This is also really common. So, for example, if you're doing a lot of investing in high risk stocks and you have a really risky portfolio, for example, but your strategy is focused on stability and preserving your capital, those two are going to really be at odds. And so it's very important to be able to look through that and decide what you are really trying to achieve, and then make sure your tactics align with your strategy and they're not working at cross purposes. So how can you apply this today? So the first thing you can do is to take 30 minutes and just start brainstorming what your financial strategy is. Maybe it's to retire early, maybe it's to become a homeowner, maybe it's to be able to pay for your children to go to college, whatever your particular phase of life that you're in at the moment. Take some time and brainstorm this and just get it down on paper and write down two things. One is, what are your big goals? And the second one is, what is your timeline in which you need to accomplish those big goals? And that'll help you figure out which kind of things you need to prioritize and work on first. Also, like I said, where you want to hire somebody to help advise you on some of these things rather than trying to figure it out yourself can be a good time to think that through as well. Then choose 2 to 3 tactics to focus on this month that align with that strategy. So just really boil it down and decide what strategy you're going to focus on, and then identify 2 to 3 unique actions that you can take. And it might be as simple as research financial advisors if you're feeling really overwhelmed, but you have a shorter window to be able to save and invest for retirement than you were thinking, and it's kind of crept up on you. Maybe your action for the month is going to be research financial advisors, or call a financial advisor, call a retirement planner, schedule an initial meet and greet, that kind of thing. Like, just really break it down into the very smallest steps that feel very manageable for you, and break it down into a plan that you feel like you can run with and that won't cause you undue stress and anxiety in the process, because I'm here to make your life easier, not harder, and help you to build your wealth in a way that's sustainable and comfortable for you at whatever level you're in right now with your financial kind of know-how, because this can all be learned, like I said. And then the third thing is to revisit and refine both your strategy and tactics regularly. So life is really fluid, and sometimes it just will really change on a dime, and all of a sudden you have to change with it. And so just kind of realizing that while you might have big picture goals and big picture strategy that you want to achieve, maybe something crops up that you have to then figure out, okay, there's this obstacle, there's this little roadblock in my way to achieving it. How do I get around it? How do I push it over? How do I go under it? Just really continuing to be strategic, so that way the first obstacle that comes in your path, you don't just throw up your hands and say, well, I guess I'm never going to be able to retire. I'm going to be working till I die because I just had this big healthcare bill come in, for example, and just give up. The most important thing to remember with this is, don't give up. If something comes up, which it invariably does, and you have a financial setback, just keep getting back up and be kind and gentle and gracious to yourself in that process. It's really, really key. And again, this is all about mindset here that we're talking about. Remembering that obstacles aren't a sign that you're on the wrong path. Obstacles are just a fact of life, and they happen, and things crop up that make, get in our way of getting from point A to point B. And just being able to have the mindset to work through those and overcome them and get help when you need it. So remember, building wealth is not about perfection. It's about consistency. And that consistency, consistently showing up for yourself in this way, is the most important thing. With the right strategy and tactics working together, you'll be unstoppable. So if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, share with people in your life who you think might enjoy it. And until next time, may your journey be filled with abundance, your efforts rewarded with prosperity, and your mindset aligned with lasting wealth. And I will see you again next time.